guys, welcome to the first ever episode of Blood Rush Wrestling. For those of you who do not know who I am Mr. Blood on TikTok. I've been doing wrestling videos for a long time. I've started to gain a really good following, so welcome to the first ever episode here on YouTube for our official launch. I thank you so much for joining me. Please, I will be leaving links in the description down below so you can go ahead and follow me on TikTok as well and help me keep building that channel as we approach 20,000. But today's big discussion is going to be why Solo Sikoa needed to beat Roman Reigns and the Usos at Crown Jewel this past weekend. Now, I know that this is a huge point of contention for a lot of people online. I've been seeing all the comments, I've been seeing the videos, I've seen the complaints. Now, I'm also Polynesian. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually Maori. So, as far as it's concerned, we need to talk about the Bloodline story and where Solo fits in it and why his win was so important to the overall story. Not only was the story being told in the match of Jey Uso and Roman not being on the same page the entire match, which kind of subsequently led to them losing and getting cost the match, it comes down to the over point of Solo needed the win. He needed it more than anything. If you want the Bloodline story to continue and have momentum and get strong and have any kind of believability in Solo or his bloodline at all, well, he's got to win, but he has to win big. Not only was this the third time Roman Reigns has actually been pinned in the last 4 years, period. In the last 4-year run, this is the third time he's been pinned. It's the first time he's ever been pinned by Solo. You see, he had lost to Cody Rhodes. He had lost to Jey Uso in that tag match when it was the Usos versus Solo and Roman Reigns. But he finally lost to Solo Sikoa himself, and it needed to happen. See, now it gives credence to Solo saying, I am the tribal chief, I am the head of the table because I have beaten in combat the former tribal chief, the former head of the table. This also leads to Roman now feeling like trusting Jey was a mistake and feeling like Jey made a mistake by joining back in the story. It pushes the narrative forward. But even more than that, Solo going into War Games can now have a valid actual claim to, we can beat you. We've done it now. I can beat you. I've done it now. And you need Solo to have credibility going up against Roman, especially in War Games where it is a multi-man situation. But how much damage can Solo put and inflict on Roman before the actual match in War Games starts? You see, people sometimes forget the match in War Games doesn't actually start until every active competitor is in the cage at once, and then the bell rings. The match can go on for quite a while before anybody actually starts getting momentum in on that match. We've seen matches go in the past where they've gone for 15-20 minutes, match starts, and then all of a sudden you've got another 20 minutes of mayhem before a pinfall is actually scored. So, Solo needed the win to boost his credibility. Roman needed to look weak and look like he's lost his edge. Jey needed to look like he was the problem that cost him the match to begin with because of his distrust in Roman and refusing to work together with him cohesively. Then you've got Jimmy, who is stuck in the middle. That's his story. Then you have Sami Zayn coming out to provide assistance, but now they need him in War Games, and we're going to get to that storytelling soon. But you needed Sami to come out and create yet another wrinkle, because now you've got Roman and Jey who can't trust each other. You've got Roman and Sami who don't trust each other. You've got Sami and Jimmy who don't trust each other. And now, once again, just like the old days when the Bloodline story was hitting its peak, the original Bloodline story, that is, was hitting its peak, now you've got all of them having Jey stuck in the middle. Because at the end of that match, Jey, once again, just like the old days, was trying to play peacekeeper, especially when he was on Sami's side initially, trying to get everybody to get off Sami's back. Well, here we go again. And look, we're leading into the 3-week build to Survivor Series. So we've got to get to a point where they are able to convince Sami to get on their same page, on their team, on their side. And I guarantee you, Jey is going to want Sami. Jimmy is not going to want Sammy. Roman is not going to want Sammy, but Sammy and Roman are going to have a face-to-face confrontation in that ring, and they're going to have to hash this out, and I guarantee you, somebody's going to have to get Usi. As far as I'm concerned, guys, that is the discussion, but Solo needed that win. You can hate it all you want. You can say Solo is just a placeholder and he's bad, but you're forgetting that that's Solo's job. Solo is supposed to be the false god, the false king. He's supposed to be the wrong guy who was there at the right place at the right time, who snatched up the throne, who snatched up the Ulafala, who snatched up the bloodline, and then took it for himself because there was no one there to stop him. If anything, Solo is playing his role to absolute perfection. He's actually playing it exactly the way he's supposed to be. You're supposed to hate him. You're supposed to feel like he is a false god. You're supposed to be that Harry Potter meme from the fucking Deadly Hallows Part 2, where it's just Harry standing there and saying, "How dare you stand where he stood," when referring to Dumbledore. We're supposed to be Harry looking at Solo saying, "How dare you stand where Roman stood. You are not my tribal chief. You are not the head of the table. That is the OTC Roman Reigns." I'm sorry, let me reiterate. Roman Reigns. And with that, it also makes me wonder, when's Paul Heyman coming back? Thank you guys so much for joining me here on the first ever episode of Blood Rush Wrestling here on YouTube. Again, you can follow my links down below to take you over to my TikTok channel, where you can go ahead and give me a follow over there as we build this crazy thing here. I'm super excited. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.